The Knicks own all their first round draft picks moving forward. They also own a plethora of other first round protected picks that they got from other teams. With all of these draft assets, it's obvious the Knicks are likely looking to swing a trade for a star or superstar player. Over the last few weeks, we've heard a number of names linked to the New York Knicks. But thanks to an NBA insider with Bleacher Report, we now know the top names that the New York Knicks are looking to trade for. And Donovan Mitchell tops that list. We're going to break down this report and so much more today. So be sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. An NBA insider lists Donovan Mitchell as a top target for the New York Knicks. Now, obviously, what's happening in Philadelphia cannot be ignored. The Philadelphia 76ers, who everybody thought was going to have a very bad season and spiral out of control, is doing the opposite. They're having a very good season without James Harden. Tyrese Maxey is taking another step, looking like that next all-star next to Joel Embiid. So it doesn't look like the Sixers are going to trade Joel Embiid to the Knicks or any other team moving forward. And because Joel Embiid is a top target for the Knicks, if he's off the list, you have to wonder, what other trade targets are on the list? What other players would the Knicks look to trade for to get on this Knicks team? Well, thanks to a Bleacher Report NBA insider in Zach Buckley, he reports the following players are the top trade targets for the Knicks this season. It's Donovan Mitchell, OG Anunoby, and surprisingly enough, DeMar DeRozan with the Chicago Bulls. Donovan Mitchell tops the list as the New York Knicks' top trade target still for this season. Donovan Mitchell and the New York Knicks have been linked since his days in Utah, and ever since the Knicks failed to trade for him, each and every season, he has still been linked to the New York Knicks, potentially the Knicks going after him and trading for him. And this season is no different. And with the Cleveland Cavaliers not really doing very good, they're not doing bad per se, but they're definitely not doing as good as they want to. You have to look at what the Cleveland Cavaliers are doing, because potentially, if they lose more games and they spiral out of control, Donovan Mitchell's name will definitely come up in trade talks. And if that happens, you can clearly see here, thanks to Zach Buckley, he reports that Donovan Mitchell is still topping the list for the New York Knicks as potential trade targets. This is not a surprise at all to me. Donovan has always been linked to the Knicks. He's always been seen in New York in the offseason. He loves that orange and blue. This is not a shock at all. And honestly, guys, I am very happy to see it. I've wanted Donovan Mitchell on this team for a while now. I still argue and I still say that Donovan Mitchell on this Knicks team creates a backcourt with Jalen Brunson that would be unrivaled in terms of offensive firepower. I don't see another backcourt that could rival them in the NBA. That's how good and explosive they could be on the offensive side of the ball. Before we go into the other names on this list, Zach Buckley gives us an update on why he believes these are the top targets for the Knicks. According to Buckley, Cavalier fans, like Jazz fans before them, might be tired of hearing Mitchell to New York talk, but exhaustion isn't a reason to ignore the buzz. Those are never going to go away. Josh Hart told Steph Bondy of the New York Post regarding Donovan Mitchell potentially coming to the Knicks. He's from New York. New York is never going to let that go away. So you'll never know what happens, but everyone knows that will be an underlying thing. Buckley continues by stating, the Knicks have amassed an impressive collection of assets, and they're seemingly awaiting the right star to become available before cashing them in. Mitchell, who could reach free agency in 2025 by declining a player option, might be that player. Since the start of the 2020-2021 season, he's averaged 26.9 points, 5 assists, and 3.5 three-pointers. If Mitchell isn't available, Cleveland has been disappointing but not a disaster, then New York could instead shift its focus to first Anunoby, an ideal fit for the 3-and-D archetype, and then to DeRozan, a multifaceted offensive weapon with a proven ability to perform in the clutch. Shout out to Zach Buckley from Bleacher Report for providing us with this great update. Again, I'm happy to see that Donovan Mitchell and the buzz for him headed to New York has still not died down, and it's still just as active as ever. And if the Cavaliers do spiral out of control and they make Donovan Mitchell available, the Knicks are absolutely going to be one of the top teams calling to see if they can trade for him. Did you see what he started averaging as start of the 2020-2021 season? Do you see his numbers? If the Knicks had those numbers, they would probably be blowing out teams. That's how impactful Donovan Mitchell on the Knicks could potentially be. I don't want to hear anything about he doesn't play defense, because I've seen him play defense, and if he's not carrying the offensive load, I would argue he would play defense again. And if he's playing for Tom Thibodeau, guess what, guys? He is absolutely playing defense. He may not be the perfect fit for the Knicks, but in terms of a scoring threat, in terms of another scorer, in terms of another player who can get their own shot, create their shot, score from anywhere at will, Donovan Mitchell checks those boxes and so much more. I hope and pray the Knicks can trade for him if it becomes available. And clearly, according to Zach Buckley, he remains the top trade target for Leon Rose and the Knicks. However, there's something I have to address with Zach Buckley and some of his comments. Before we get to OG Anunoby, I have to address the insanity of DeMar DeRozan with the Chicago Bulls. The Knicks do need another scorer. They do not need DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan is a scorer that primarily gets his buckets from the mid-range. Who else does that? Oh yeah, RJ Barrett. Oh yeah, Jalen Brunson. Oh yeah, Julius Randle. If you give DeMar DeRozan the ball, who else is he taking shots away from? And if you get DeMar DeRozan, are you benching Grimes in that defense to get DeMar DeRozan with no defense, just with offense? But he doesn't give you the three-point shooting offense you need, but he gives you the mid-range shooting that a lot of teams need. You could argue the Knicks could use it, but not more than a three-point shooter that could consistently hit that shot. That's probably more of their need. DeMar DeRozan will not play defense at this stage of his career, and he's aging. He's going to get worse before he gets better. This does not make sense for the Knicks to do. It would hurt the Knicks. Listen to me closely here. It would hurt the Knicks to give up assets for DeMar DeRozan, who is aging out of the league and likely will not give this Knicks team what they need. It does not make sense for the Knicks to do that. And DeMar DeRozan is not going to come cheap. He will not come cheap. You're going to have to give up assets for this player and then still arguably be down one or two crucial players that you still need to get, but you're going to have to get them now with less assets because you went out and got an aging DeMar DeRozan. If the Knicks know what's good for them, they will not make this move. DeMar is not the answer. And then we got to go to the other person on this list, OG Anunoby. OG on this team goes to the 3, moves RJ Barrett to the 2, and voila, like magic, the Knicks magically have size at the positions that they need. And maybe if you make the trade, you can also get a backup power forward that you're comfortable playing behind Julius Randle, so Josh Hart can play his position more naturally. He can get into rhythm more naturally and stop speaking to the media about his usage. You kill so many birds with one trade, and they just have to make it. But OG Anunoby, folks, plays for the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors and the Knicks are embroiled in a lawsuit right now, and because of that, they're not going to make the trade. An OG Anunoby deal or any type of OG move to the Knicks will only happen this offseason if he becomes a free agent by declining that player option and goes and joins the Knicks. Remember, guys, he is CAA, so the possibility of this happening is still exponentially high. Whether or not it happens all depends on what the Raptors offer him and what he does for the Toronto Raptors this season. But in terms of realistic options for an in-season type of trade, there's only one name that should be listed, especially given what they're doing this season. Donovan Mitchell with the Cleveland Cavaliers. If the Cavs continue to lose and spiral out of control, Donovan has to be the one to watch. And I want the Knicks to get Donovan. I'll say it again. He may not be the perfect fit, but he is one of the best fits that you can get on this Knicks team to create that explosive backcourt with Jalen Brunson. And, oh, by the way, Donovan Mitchell is the most realistic name on this list by far. Now it's up to Leon Rose and company to wait and bide their time like they've been doing and wait and see if the Cleveland Cavaliers make this man available so they can pick up the phone and start trying to make that blockbuster trade, because that's exactly what it's going to be if it happens, happen. And I just can't wait for the Knicks to pull the trigger once this becomes available. But what about you guys? What do you think about Bleacher Report and what they stated here about the Knicks and their current top trade targets right now? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.